Nigeria, a nation rich in oil and gas resources, contributing about 10% to the nation's GDP and over 90% of government revenue. However, despite being the world's 8th largest oil exporter, the country has faced challenges in maximizing the benefits of its natural resources, with very low local participation in the sector being a long-standing concern, hindering Nigeria's ability to fully harness its oil and gas potential. For instance, despite the industry's colossal value, Nigeria faced challenges including limited local participation and opaque practices. A report by the Natural Resources Governance Institute ranked Nigeria 55th out of 89 countries for opacity and viability, highlighting the need for change. In response to this concern, in August 2017, the Bank of Industry (BOI) and the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB) signed a $300 million managed fund agreement to boost programs fostering Nigerian content in the oil and gas industry, thus launching the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund (NCIF). This $300 million initiative aimed to reshape the landscape of the oil and gas industry by fostering greater indigenous participation and capacity building. This special report explores the transformative journey of the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund (NCIF) and the collaboration between the Bank of Industry and the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. The NCIF aims to achieve strategic objectives such as increasing indigenous participation, promoting growth in manufacturing entities related to the oil and gas industry, and creating linkages to boost Nigeria's GDP. The fund targets various areas, including financing for manufacturers, asset acquisition, contract financing for service providers, community-based companies, and more. Since its inception, the NCIF has been instrumental in providing financial assistance to local manufacturers, service providers, and community-based enterprises in the oil and gas sector. Through a combination of loans and support programs, the fund has empowered Nigerian businesses to acquire essential assets, expand their operations, and compete on a global scale.
My name is Maurice Abazie. I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Strice Energy and Maritime Limited. Strice Energy and Maritime is an offshore oil and gas construction company. We started as an onshore oil and gas construction company and then gradually moved to the offshore space, which is our primary focus at the moment. We construct oil and gas exploration and production facilities in the offshore space. We construct, we commission, we install all facilities required for production of oil and gas. We lay the pipelines. We carry out subsea inspections and maintenance of subsea assets. So, and we own and operate offshore vessels that support all aspects of offshore oil and gas operations. If I would say that between 2021 and 2023, when we received the fund, the company has grown at an average rate of 50% per annum. So within that 3 years, we have grown by over 150% in both assets, personnel, and in revenue. Before we received the fund, our workforce, we had a workforce of about 50 personnel. As we speak today, we have about 200 personnel in our employment directly and over 200 as contract staff.
My name is Richard Sin Arigbodi. I'm the managing director of Nimera Oil and Gas. Nimera Oil and Gas is a marine logistics company. We have marine vessels, we have dredgers, We have barges and tugboats, and we provide services to the oil and gas industry, logistics services. We move crew, we move personnel, and we also provide security logistics services. We are in partnership with the Nigerian Navy, so we support with our security vessels the operations of the oil companies in Nigeria. In terms of the impact of the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund on our business, I would say it's been enormous. It gave us a big boost, it gave us a very big lift. We acquired a new vessel, we added to the fleet of what we have, and with that acquisition also, we expanded our reach in the industry. We had to add on about 42 staff as a result of the acquisition to our staff numbers. And in terms of overall impact, it has increased our bottom line in terms of our turnover and activity, because of course it's an income line which we did not have prior to now. So I would say it's been of enormous impact and of very, very great benefit to us as a business.
My name is Soviebo Ambrose. I'm the executive chairman of Tamros Limited. Tamros as a company was incorporated in 2003, but our journey into the maritime space started in 2010 with the delivery of our first vessel, the TMC Primus. Today, we are a company with a fleet of 12 offshore support vessels and working for all of the IOCs operating in Nigeria. Today, our asset classes are in two categories. We have 10 built-for-purpose offshore security patrol vessels, and we have 2 platform support vessels. For the offshore security patrol services, our vessels escort client vessels during passage, as well as conduct perimeter, surveillance, and patrol for offshore assets for our customers. The platform support vessels support both drilling operations and day-to-day crude production activities. Okay, so our services span the entire gamut of the marine logistics sector. We have a fleet of 10 built-for-purpose security patrol vessels. So we are very, very much present, one of the biggest players in the maritime security management and surveillance business. We provide these services to most of the IOCs operating in Nigeria, directly or indirectly in some instances. In addition to that, we also have a fleet of offshore support vessels, rendering services to the major players in here. So in terms of service, you can say our services cover the entire spectrum of the maritime logistics spread. The NCIFund has been quite impactful and significant in our growth to date. From 2010 to 2017-18, we grew the business from 1 to 4 assets. And during this period, I decided to halt further expansion of the business in order to create a foundation to solidify and consolidate on where we were at that point. That necessitated my having to take a course, Owner President Management course called OPM in Harvard Business School for 3 years. So at the completion of that course was when we approached the Bank of Industry through the NCDMB for this intervention fund, because at that point we felt both from the human resource and the organizational point of view we're ready to undertake the next growth phase. It will interest you to know that we secured $10 million from the BOI And with the money that we have on our own put together and some other banking support, we were able to acquire 8 assets in 1 year. So that's basically like tripling our fleet size from 4 to 12. So I think that shows a clear picture as to what the fund has helped us achieve in terms of capacity, in terms of growth. We grew our staff strength from about 170 prior to the availment of this fund to about 258 today. The funds that were given to us by NCDMB BOI was used to acquire 2 security vessels. But we added our own counterpart funding to increase that fleet to 6. Those 6 security vessels that came into operation created immediate employment for about 84 seafarers. Those 84 seafarers, if you assume that each of them will have at least 4 dependents, that brought close to about 500 people to the HMO scheme. So that's how impactful the fund has been across value chain. Yeah, so first, as part of the requirement for accessing this fund is a commercial bank guarantee. That was provided to us by Keystone Bank. Mrs. Eukaria Agberogu was our chief relationship manager. She believes strongly in the Tamros brand. She believes very strongly in our story. And today, 4 years down the line, I really am very glad that we have been able to justify the confidence reposed in us. We have not missed a single payment to date. We've met all our obligations under the loan.
My name is Oke Ekekenta. I am an industry leader with an unyielding passion for navigating the complexities of the maritime and oil and gas sector. Ejovi Dredging and Marine Services Limited, we call it Ejovi for short, or EDM, is a fully owned indigenous oil and gas servicing company, which stands at the forefront of the maritime innovation. Yeah, the company was incorporated about 3 decades ago, maybe like 30 years ago, to provide a wide range of services to the international oil companies and the indigenous Nigerian oil companies that operate the marginal fields in the areas of marine support services, marine security services, dredging and land reclamation, mechanical and civil engineering, drilling fluid, drilling waste management, pipeline installation and maintenance, equipment leasing, logistics, and a host of other services. Yeah? Our distinguished client base include SPDC. SPDC is a Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria. NAOC, that's Nigerian Ajib Oil Company. Chevron, Seplat, NDPR, First E&P, Oriental, and a host of WAEPCO. WAEPCO is the exploration arm of Dangote Industries, ExxonMobil, and quite a host of other companies. Yeah, I would say the resonance of NCIFund, that's the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund within Ejovi, has been quite transformative. Yeah, operationally, the impact has been quite considerable. We assessed the NCIFund a few years back, to acquire 6 fleets of DP1, DP2, non-DP, anchor handling tugs and anchor handling tug supply vessels under a strategic sale by Telford Offshores. Naturally, buying those vessels has helped us increase the scale of our operations, and services, which of course impact job creations, which it spurs growth in revenue and promote development of the local content in the oil and gas sector. Ejovi's trajectory ordinarily is charted towards delivering quality service that meets the requirements of our clients and to develop human resources at our disposal, to meet the challenges posed by modern technology. Going forward, obviously, we plan to continue increasing our scale of operations and to acquire more vessels. This would not have been possible if we could not access the NCI funds, you know, with its long tenor, single-digit low interest rates, yeah, which are by far more favorable and conducive to our business than commercial facilities.
My name is Gerald Uzoma. I'm an executive director of Megastar Technical and Construction Company. My background is corporate finance and accounting. I am privileged to lead the finance and accounting team of the company as executive director of finance. Okay, Megastar is a prominent player in the construction sector. As a company, we specialize in providing comprehensive, construction solutions. Okay, our vision is to be the EPCCM company of choice in Nigeria. When I say EPCCM, I mean engineering, procurement, construction, commissioning, and maintenance. Our core services include broad spectrum of construction, civil construction activities, which includes civil project management and infrastructural development. We cater for a wide range of clients, ranging from government agencies to private enterprises, okay, delivering quality products, that meet the expectation of these our clients. We are basically dedicated to building the quality that others dream about. So basically, the company is about 36 years old this year. It has organically grown over these years from a small company to a construction company of choice. That's Megastar.
Recognizing the potential, the fund size was increased by an additional $50 million in January 2023 to establish the Nigerian Oil and Gas Park Scheme No Gaps Fund to support the establishment of low-cost manufacturing hubs for equipment, component and spare parts, chemicals and other products utilized in the oil and gas industry and related sectors, with 6 parks already proposed, including MAL1 Bayelsa State, Odokpani Cross River State, Ilaje Ondo State, Ugeli Delta State, Oguta Imo State, and Ikwe-1 Akwa Ibom State. By February 27, 2024, the NCIFund has made significant strides. Over $324.263 million and 41.889 billion naira have been disbursed to 71 beneficiaries. These funds aim to bridge the gap and empower local players in a sector predominantly reliant on imports.
Support Petroleum Limited is an offshore bunkering solutions provider established in 2011 to essentially deliver bunker fuels, mainly gas oil, fuel oil, to the offshore platforms in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. That's the primary. That's our primary service. We also service the fishing sector. That's like for fishing vessels, dredgers, container ships. So essentially, we're like a one-stop bunker solutions provider for all industries. Most of our clients right now are based in Nigeria. I would say 70% of them are in Nigeria. 30% are offshore. Their facilities are mainly the offshore facilities off the coast of Nigeria and some of the deep water fields offshore Nigeria. The impact of the NCIFund was great. It's been an amazing thing, and I think for us who has actually benefited from that fund, I would say it's been amazing. Without that fund, I don't know how we would have raised the capital, to essentially purchase a vessel. NCI coming together in partnership with BOI to provide this type of service to individual companies or small companies, local companies like us who are very, very keen on building content and developing a capacity, has been priceless. The BOI guys were amazing. NCDMB people were amazing. So I really have nothing else to add other than that. It was an amazing experience.
My name is Festus Erewele. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Omoria Oil Services Limited. It's a marine company, and we are into vessels provision for oil and gas company. The company started about 17, 18 years ago, and our cooperation basically is logistics for marine oil and gas related companies who do who carry their staff or have anything concerning logistics to do with the marine industry, basically. So we provide those services, logistics for them. Before the funds came in, the NCI funds, we were struggling because the industry we operate in is a capital-intensive industry, very capital-intensive. And it requires plenty of expertise, which we had, but enough expertise without funding does not lead you anywhere. So with the little equity we had, we were able to come into some level of awareness before BOI came into the scene, saw that we had everything that could warrant their assistance. And that really boosted the entire thing that we're doing currently in the company. So our operations improved. We gained visibility because of the assets we were able to now acquire. That also meant that our staffing increased and we were able to do much more than we were doing previously with just equity capital, where we were struggling. But when BOI came into the scene, I would like to say that it was much, much easier for us to operate. Before the intervention, we were basically just doing almost like a portfolio management kind of business. We had less than 10 staff, and that is the office staff, and then the crew numbering not more than 5 or 6, depending on availability and things like that. And so when we got these intervention funds and we were able to expand our asset acquisition stock, we got in more boats. That meant we were getting more staff in, and we even moved office. Because our operations just improved and increased. Our staff strength grew to about 27 from the 8 that we were, and then we were able to get our assets too increase from 1, we had just a vessel then, but the operations improved, and so we had more money, and then we were able to, currently we have about 4 or 5 of these vessels by the reason of this intervention.
Russell Smith is an integrated energy solutions company. We've been operational for 20 years now in the upstream oil and gas industry here in Nigeria. As an organization, our vision is to be able to provide, or to be a leader in providing innovative technology solutions for the future of global energy. I'd like to commend NCDMB and BOI for coming up with this initiative. It's a laudable initiative because, to be honest, for many companies, especially a company like ours, this fund has been able to help us at Russell Smith to expand capacity. We've been able to build and develop a lot of capacity over the years. Our subsea division and some of the new divisions we've set up is as a result of the fund we've been able to have access to. Our staff strength must have grown at least 30 to 35%. With a fund like the NCIFund, we will be able to do more.
We acquired a vessel which originally was built as a crew vessel, but with the intervention fund, we were able to acquire it, and we came up with a hybrid of a crew and a security vessel. So I think it's a very well thought out fund. God bless the pioneers, those who thought about it. So I would, on that note, wish the incoming executive secretary the best, and I hope that this fund continues to impact on Nigerian companies as it has impacted on us greatly.
Through the NCIF, success stories are emerging. Indigenous companies accessing funds to procure assets, finance contracts, and spur productivity. The fund's impact resonates in not only the oil and gas sector, but across the national economy.
My name is Irogama Ogbaifun. I am the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Stars Investments Company Limited. We are a very proud, wholly indigenous maritime logistics company operating out of Nigeria, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. We have a fleet of 11 vessels, 5 tugboats and 6 small security patrol crafts that operate with Total. We currently work with 2 IOCs, Chevron and Total Energies, but we've also worked with ExxonMobil and SPDC in the past. We've also taken advantage of an opportunity to export our expertise to another African country. We have a tugboat that's operating in Gabon at the moment, so we have a platform to go Pan-African. Well, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for setting up this scheme and being committed to its success, leveraging the platform of Bank of Industry. I think that we can see that there are a lot more indigenous ship owners today in Nigeria compared to 2003 when we commenced our first job as ship owners with Total Energies, and we struggled to even find funding for that opportunity. As at the time when we got this new boat in 2018, we had 3 ships. Today we have 11 ships. It also expanded our staff strength, as at that time we had about 123 staff before this vessel came in, and today we have 201 staff and still growing. So leveraging the fund, we expanded our fleet. We were able to bid for more jobs using this new boat, that afforded us opportunities to get more vessels coming into the country to take advantage of those opportunities, thereby growing our brand reputation, growing our capacity internally and also externally, and then positioning us for even Pan-African opportunities, like I mentioned earlier, that we are already taking advantage of. So certainly, I would say that it has been multi-layers of benefits and impact through the NCIFund.
The first funds we accessed came in at a time where it was critical to the survival of this company. As we speak, right now, I'm sure in Candix we have maybe 500 workers across the nation. It was able to help us increase capacity, increase the equipment we own, because we were also able to, fund the purchase of some equipment for our operations. I tell you, the funds we got from NCDMB really, really had a major impact on our business.
I think one of the things that I learned early in business was always make sure that you have good advice. Make sure you have the right partners to work with you. Also, I didn't experience those difficulties because we had 3 specific partners. First, of course, was Fidelity Bank, which helped us in terms of the bank guarantees that we needed, but also in terms of guiding the process. The second was the stellar workers in the Bank of Industry that worked with us to be able to understand the requirements for the fund, helped us to be able to structure and to review documentations and also the back and forth feedback. That input was critical. But then thirdly was the NCDMB as well. The level of support we have received from the NCDMB to be able to qualify and access the fund was critical. So for us, we got 3 very, very critical inputs. Now, over the past 30 years, we have grown across multiple subsidiaries, and so we want to consolidate across each of them to make sure that each of those subsidiaries is actually delivering on its core mandate. So from engineering to EPCIC, and also stretching their boundaries to be able to take advantage of adjacent opportunities. So the first point, within the next short term, 1 to 3 years, we want to consolidate. The fund has helped us to grow in Nigeria, and I'm sure it's doing the same for multiple businesses in Nigeria. What we want to see is how do we continue to expand that availability and access of funding to enable us play regionally. Because I do believe that there are multiple companies in Nigeria like ourselves who, yes, can actually play at a bigger scale than they are currently doing. So the Bank of Industry plays a very significant role to be able to help us achieve that.
We are an EPC company. We do engineering, procurement, construction and installation. We have facilities in Lagos and in Rivers State. So our primary construction yard is in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. That's where we do all our fabrication. But our engineering design services are hosted in Lagos. And then we offer engineering and construction services to multiple clients in Nigeria. Clients like ExxonMobil, Shell, Total, NLNG, NGC. We actually have a broad spectrum of clients in Nigeria. Our clients know us. They know that if they give us opportunities, we'll deliver. But we cannot deliver projects without infrastructure. So what these funds made available to us is an opportunity to put critical infrastructure in place that we can now showcase to our clients, and then they're able to give us the projects that we try to deliver. Since we got the first fund, we've expanded incredibly. I mean, we've gone from projects of like 5 to 10 million. Today we're doing over $150 million in projects for only Shell. All the critical equipment that we need to do our construction work. And so far we have demonstrated that we are a good entity to invest in. They've really done excellently well in all the areas that they need to support because they are very responsive. They are very responsive to us. I mean, we've gotten the approvals that we need, we've gotten the funds that we need so far. And they always come and check in with us to ask us even if we need more support. So we really appreciate the support that we've gotten from the Bank of Industry and NCDMB. They've both been very critical to our growth. I sit down here personally appreciative. And also, I'm sure I speak for our over 350 employees that are direct beneficiaries of this support that we've received from NCDMB and BOI. So we are deeply grateful for the support.
So Caracal cuts across technical logistics, essentially providing marine offshore support vessels to the oil and gas operators in exploration and production in Nigeria. And we have a crewing and a manpower division as well within the enterprise. So we have worked with and work currently with clients like Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Total, Oriental Energy, First Exploration and Production, First EMP, and some of the other national oil companies like Heritage Energy Oil Services Limited. We're established in 2013, so we're 11 years old as an enterprise this year. So we used the fund to acquire a vessel to expand our fleet. In terms of what he has done, we have had to hire crew to support that vessel. It has expanded our revenue base, but the most important fact of the matter is that the fund has given us access to financing at pricing that has allowed us to be very competitive with most of the international players, which is the weakness that we Nigerian oil and gas vessel providers have faced in the past. Well, in terms of our numbers, we have cheaper financing, which has helped us in terms of reducing our cost of operation. So that is quite important. That's given us a level of stability to be able to essentially create a mid or focus on a mid to long term trajectory of where we want to be and start looking at how we want to get there. And it's about how the fund can support us in terms of that journey of how we want to get there. Well, BOI and the NCDMB in context of us is essentially the fund, right? In terms of it being able to support indigenous operators as ourselves, right? So it's the fact that we're even able to access that is a bonus and something that I would say is a blessing to indigenous providers in the industry.
Market realities have presented a number of challenges to the NCIF. There is the concern that financial requirements of local businesses often surpass the fund's capacity, which creates a pressing need for periodic reassessment and potential augmentation.
The fund should look at flexibility in terms of interest rates and repayment structure, considering the realities, economic realities of today, because sustainability is very important. I also know that one of the objectives of the fund, okay, is to enable businesses generate employment. Okay, so for this employment generation to come to bear, then you need to ensure that the companies are sustainable, not just surviving, sustainable. Like I said, considering the economic dynamics that we're facing today, let them be flexible. The fund should be flexible in restructuring repayment plan for companies who have been able to access the fund.
While we acknowledge the NCIFund's impactful support, for me, envisioning the future prompts consideration for perhaps an increase in the single obligator limit to enable us acquire even bigger pool of funds, to help our business. We'll make a reference to a recent acquisition we made last quarter of the year. It was quite huge. Trust me, aligning the fund structure with the evolving needs of dynamic companies like HOV would really fortify its role as a true partner in our connective journey in this maritime excellence. So basically for us, because we have tested, we know the benefits, so we want even more. Yeah, so increasing that single obligatory limit will be quite of immense support to people like HOV, because we have grown to a certain stage where, and we have been tested and trusted, if you ask me. So I think we are good customers.
Most of the disbursements from the NCI to shipping has been towards vessel acquisition. That's brilliant. That's the way it should be. Engineer Simbi Wabote has made significant and impactful strides within the local content community, driving local content growth during his administration. Now that we have a new man at the helms of affairs, in the person of Engineer Omashola Ogbe, who did over 24 years in Chevron as an insider, so to speak, and since leaving Chevron, has also been very active in running service companies. So I can say he's seen both sides of the coin, you understand? My advice to him would be to see how we can redirect the NCI to also include asset maintenance and repair facilities, as well as human development. I believe that if these three platforms are well looked after, then the board's strategic objective of achieving 70% local content initiative within the oil and gas industry come 2027 will be very, 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 very realistic and be very, very achievable.
Okay, so two things are involved when we're talking about what we would like NCI to do going forward is in the structuring. And in the structuring, we're looking at tenure, basically, tenure elongation, if it's possible, because our ability to be able to make returns on investment, especially now with what's going on in the FX market and the cost of operations, our return on investment takes a longer time to be able to, achieve or attain. So basically, we'll be requiring a longer tenure from what it has always been to something +2, +3 to be able to recoup. We will also want a reduced interest, if it's possible. Yes, we understand that the interest rate, it's not as bad as what it used to be or what we get from most other banks, but if you check the cost of operations, it will admit us to ask that we have, even if it is just a digit or two lower than what it is currently. It will also help impact positively on our business.
The impact of the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund is that it is clear that the collaboration between BOI and the NCDMB has been a catalyst for positive transformation in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. Through financial assistance and strategic objectives, the NCIF is empowering local players, boosting jobs creation, and attracting vital investment into Nigeria's oil and gas sector. The journey is ongoing, and as the fund continues to flourish, so does the promise of a more vibrant, inclusive, and self-sufficient oil and gas industry in Nigeria.